We're going out of the country. We're going all the way to Spain to our resident Olympic gold medalist, Joe Jacboi. Bon dia,
Karen,
Joe.
bon dia and bon dia, Karen. This is great to be able to hear your story. You know, I wanted to follow up with a question talking about the relationships, you know, the importance of relationships. I've read about that study before. I was wondering if you also give thought, okay, you know, relationships are, of course, this very external part of our existence. How do you, at this stage of life, think about, like, do you think about how you take care of yourself, like elements of self-care and the way you prepare yourself to, like, either be at your best for relationships or even to even refine, like, your disposition for the kinds of people that you want to have relationships with as you get more life experience? Like, I get the relationship part. Like, what is the self-care, kind of the self-preparation part of that look like for you at this stage of life?
So I cannot answer your question until I ask you where in Spain you are and what was your gold medal in? I mean, I have to know that.
So I'm in the Spanish state of Catalonia.
Okay.
I'm 2 hours to the north of Barcelona. If it were light out, I would show you from my balcony, but I live very close to the French and Andorran border. And about maybe 50 yards from my balcony is the 1992 Olympic whitewater canoeing course, where my partner and I won the gold medal at the Olympics in whitewater canoeing 30 years ago. So I moved here, made a quality of life move here about 4 years ago. And yeah, I mean, I could speak on the relationship side a lot, but I don't want to say my question was a little bit loaded, but I am really curious. I've heard a lot about the Harvard study, the longest study on you know, about life and happiness and the importance of relationships. But yeah, at this stage, I think a lot about how people really, is it a chicken and egg thing for you? Is it like, are there relationships that make you want to, like, be better in your health, or do you focus, like, on your health and your kind of your self-care as a way to be better for relationships? Like, how do you look at this?
So that's fascinating, and I want to talk to you about Spain on a separate note. But
Yeah.
So cool that you did that. So the struggle is real for all of us. I mean, we know that. I will tell you the thing I think I've gotten good at, and the thing that I'm not good at. And the thing that I've gotten good at since that time, and it's really hard for me because I am naturally interested in ideas and shiny objects and people and things, but I have tried really, really hard to be present in the moment when I'm with someone, whether it's on the phone, whether it's, you know, in person, whether it's on a Zoom call. And that's hard, right? We can all multitask on Zoom calls, and it's okay if you are. I'm not judging, I'm not looking at your eyes, but there's something really powerful about actually being in that moment with the person, both for you and the person, right? You remember what you talked about. You're a little bit refreshed by having had that conversation with someone. So that's a really big change for me. The first article I ever wrote for what was then the new Harvard Business Review online at hbr.org was then, you know, newfangled thing, was a piece that I wrote with no irony called Confessions of an Unrepentant BlackBerry Addict. And it was me writing a piece, BlackBerry tells you the era, justifying why I was actually a much better person to be around when I had my BlackBerry with me all the time, and I could be in touch, and I never had to worry about work because I knew I'd get the questions coming in. And in hindsight, I mean, I laugh at myself, that's pathetic, right? But I was not present. So that part I think I have absolutely gotten better at, and it's only because I make a point of it. Self-care, any working parent, especially working moms, I can suspect will tell you it's really hard to put yourself first, and that struggle has been real for me in so many ways. There's an expression that I love that's really hard and sad but true, is you're only as happy as your most unhappy child. So I take on the burden of whatever happens to my kids in ways that probably are not healthy. But at my age and stage of life, I'm 57 now, I have started having really close friends get sick or die. I was actually one of my really good friends just got diagnosed with a really advanced stage of melanoma. And I was thinking he's my third very close male friend from college who is in jeopardy, is in really serious health jeopardy. It does just make you, you know, there's smelling salt there in that can't wait, you know, if you're not around to So it is a constant challenge, but I think it's really, really important. And I'd love to learn from you, to be honest with you. You sounds like you've done that in a deliberate way. And that's really powerful to share because it's hard.
I would be happy to chat with it more. Scott, if I could just take one very short follow-up. I'm really curious on this topic. Karen, have you read or worked at all with Oliver Burkeman and his book, 4,000 Weeks? It sounds like I just finished the book. There seems to be a little bit of connection between what you write about with Clay and some of what Berkman gets at in 4,000 Weeks. Is that a book that you're
It is not,
familiar
no,
with?
and I'm curious about it.
Well, 4,000 Weeks it's about the length of an average human life that kind of lives out a full life. It's 80 some years. And the book is called 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals, which is a little bit of a joke. It's a very existentialist kind of, not very, it has some existentialism kind of built into, purpose, ideas, what we're doing, what this idea of being more efficient, more productive, but kind of really turning that back on itself. And, Berkman is a British guy who's been living in New York for a while. And yeah, he really seemed to hit on this idea of, what we're going to do with our time here in a really fascinating way. I think he's done a great job. There's a couple good primers. One of the best one I've come across, he did a great conversation with Krista Tippett on being on NPR. That interview is really good. I had heard Berkman a few times, and then I heard the Krista Tippett interview, and I'm like, I'm buying the book, and I read the book, and it's outstanding. But it sounds like there must be some overlap between this idea of what we're going to do with our time, and and him putting out an amount of time and the way we look at it,
right?
And and giving us some thoughts about what to kind of not hold the grips so closely. Like, how do we sort of hold it a little bit more loosely, a little bit more gently? Very interesting read. One of my favorite reads in a long time.
I will definitely, that sounds really fascinating. I will definitely get that. And I would just say all of us probably have the sense if we're good enough at this or not yet, based on the past 2 years, right? Did we have people in our life who were, it came clear to you who was important to you and who were you important to in the pandemic, right? Who did we stay in touch with? Who did we find ways to be connected with? Did we have outlets for, the connections we needed during the pandemic when, who did you care enough to want to see, and who cared enough to want to see your, go through the protocol to be able to see someone? I just think we've all had kind of a litmus test of how are we doing? And, you may like your answer or you may want to improve it. And I think that's kind of a powerful thing to think about.
Yeah, love it. Would be happy to continue the conversation.
Yeah, no, I'd love. I should tell you, my husband's family is originally from Galicia, so I've been in Spain a quadrillion times, and I would love to hear your experience of retiring there. So
the Galicians do very well in canoeing. We've got a few that are living. This is the National Canoeing Training Center for Spain, so we've got a few Galicians that are living here. And the first race of the year in Spain, the canoeing race, is always in Galicia. So yeah, great part of the country. One part I'd like to spend a little bit more time myself.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Feel smart.